Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is my review of the Master Palette by Mario. You guys watched my last video, and if you follow me on Instagram, you guys know that I am third day on antibiotics today for a walking pneumonia and a sinus infection, so my voice is probably extra raspy and annoying than usual. Some of you guys ask why I have to explain things. If I don't, it's inevitable. I'll get someone being like, "You sound like crap, are you okay?" I'm going stir crazy, so I wanted to film today and get this video up before the palette comes into stores on the 20th. As always, there will be markers in the description box below if you guys want to skip ahead, because I'm going to give you some background on Mario, because like a stalker, I looked up all this information that I thought was kind of interesting, price comparisons, swatches, all of that stuff. So I believe you pronounce Mario's last name Divanovic. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. I likely am. So I was actually shocked at Mario's age, given how much he's accomplished already. Mario is 33 years old, and he's a first-generation American Albanian. He was born in the Bronx in New York City, and his parents immigrated over from Montenegro. I found it really interesting how he got his start, because it's not something that I was aware of. He was actually 17 years old and working at a Sephora in New York City, and he was a perfume consultant, and the women used to come in and ask him for tips about makeup and things, and so he just kind of went from that department over to makeup, and he really enjoyed seeing the look on women's face and men after he would do their makeup, and he really liked that kind of like empowerment he gave to them. So shortly after the perfume, he went into makeup. He got his first New York agent by the age of 21, which that is incredibly young, and then at 24 years old, he booked a cover shoot for Social Life magazine, and the model was Kim Kardashian. Kim and Mario have been together ever since. Mario, I think, has really been known mostly for his complexion, contour, and highlight work. I mean, contour and highlighting has been around, I think they said, since the 1940s. And it's something, you know, artists in general play with light and shadows and painting, so it makes sense that an artist would do that to your face as well. But Mario really, I think, brought it to the forefront. I mean, again, it's always been in drag, but he has definitely made it more precise than I think it was for a long time. And more so, I think he's really led that charge of, you know, when he was contouring Kim Kardashian, all of a sudden everybody wanted banana powder and contouring and things like that. That's a lot of influence for someone so young. I think that's pretty cool. Mario's looks tend to be like a really pretty, elegant look, polished feminine, natural smoky. So he tends to do more like subtle transformations for red carpets and celebrity looks, editorial work, things like that. He has a plethora of celebrity clients, including obviously the most well-known is Kim Kardashian, Katy Perry, Jennifer Lopez, Christina Aguilera, Gabrielle Union, Ciara, Eva Longoria, Chrissy Teigen, the Jenner girls, a bunch of people. Mario's work has been in Glamour, Vogue, Bazaar, tons of magazines. So I think it's safe to say he's probably one of the most well-known makeup artists in the world. I really respect people that work their way up in industries. I think it's very admirable. So first, let me tell you, I ordered this from the ABH website pretty much not the minute it went live, because telling you they're trying to sabotage the West Coast. I really like it actually that they don't tell people the time anymore, because then the site crashes, although it does give me anxiety like if I'm not going to get it in time. But I think they've done a really good job of releasing enough products so everyone can get one. So I did order this at, I think at like 5 in the morning when I woke up, and I saw Ripley had texted me at like 3 in the morning like, "Girl, it's live." I'm like, "Does she ever sleep?" I'm like, Thank you for looking out. And then I went on my Instagram, and all of you guys had told me too that it was already live, people in different time zones. I really appreciate you guys for telling me that stuff. Sometimes I get so wrapped up in other things, I never even know what day of the week it is. So I typically can lose track of some of that stuff. I did pick expedited shipping just because in the past when I've ordered from her site, I typically get it in like 9 days or so. So I ordered it with expedited shipping so I could get it quickly. And it did go out, and it got here in 2 days from then. And at first I thought other people's tracking said it was going to get there at the same time, like Ripley's, she's like out in Sacramento area. And I was like, oh man, if you're getting it at the same time as me, and I paid like another $10.95 for shipping, but it actually, mine got here way before hers. I guess I did hear from a couple people that there were like glitches in the system, and some people got like empty boxes, or some people didn't even get their boxes, but I'm pretty sure that's all been sorted out now. And to the best of my understanding, you won't be able to buy this anymore anyway off the ABH website. You'll have to order this from Sephora, Ulta, or Macy's. This is currently available on Macy's website and Sephora currently, sold out on Ulta. This will be in stores in Macy's, Sephora, and Ulta October 20th. I'm just gonna take this brush out so the whole time I'm holding it up doesn't fall. So this palette retails for $45 and you are getting 12 shades. Each shade is 0.02 ounces. You're getting 6 satin finishes, 2 metallic, 1 velvet, and then 3 ultra matte. And I will say the ultra matte of the formula that's been in this palette and the one that's in the Modern Renaissance palette is like, if Viseart Neutral Mattes is right here for me and they're dark mattes, Anastasia's are like maybe like halfway through how much I love the Viseart. So I really want to own every single ultra matte they make. I do like their other shadows too and the formulas, but I tend to wear mattes the most. So I really, really like these. And I like the ones in the palettes. The formulas are more creamy than the individual pans. The ingredients are different. Although I do have like 6 of the individual pans, my mission is to slowly start collecting every single matte they have because I love them. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of these names are after muses, and like he splits his time between LA and New York, it said. So we have a Hollywood and New York. Kim, he says, is his muse. This shade Muse is like stunning. It's one of my favorite in the palette. Marina, I think that might be his mother or maybe his sister. I think these names all have important meaning to him, like muses and women in his life. And I think Claudia might be named after Norvina, because if I'm not mistaken, that's Norvina's name. Like her legal name, I think. I think one of these shades is named after his mother. I don't know if it's Lula, Isabel, Violetta. I think one of them is. And then the Bronx, where he was born, Paris, Fifth Ave. I just thought that that was kind of cool. So for cost comparisons, I'm going to compare it to the Modern Renaissance palette. Now in this palette, you did get 2 more shades. I love, this is my favorite palette of the year. I mean, it's blown all other palettes that I've gotten out of the water. The formula from these shadows to this palette is different, but they're excellent still. They're both excellent. The formula also isn't like any of their other shadows that I can put my finger on, although the mattes are very similar. I loved the packaging on this one. It's just very sleek looking. The box it came in is the same. This did come with a brush, although the brush does look a little different than usual. The hairs on this side are light to dark. I like this side of the brush to get up and do some crease work for me, but I always do get little shedding hairs from this side of the brush when I am blending. It's a great brush though. If you don't have sizes like this, I typically just don't use them very often. All right, let's talk about some of the costs now. This is the most expensive ABH palette that they have released. You are getting the least amount of product as well, but to me, again, I don't mind that because I like what's in here. If it's like a bunch, like hodgepodge, like kind of mixed with a couple good shadows with some garbage, you know, I have to kind of take that into account. If this is your first time watching me, guys, I am a nerd and I've been cataloging all my palettes so I can give you guys more accurate cost per gram breakdown, because that is the most accurate representation to see how it stacks up against other palettes, because every palette you can get a different amount in and they all cost different. So now I'm just going to show you guys some cost comparisons on the screen here versus other previous release palettes by them. You can see now this is on par with the Modern Renaissance palette. However, you do have to keep in mind you're getting 2 less shadows. I think the reason the cost is a little bit more and you get a little bit less, and when I mean less, I just mean of recent releases, because obviously you're still getting more from some of the early palettes that were made in China. It's a collaboration, and Mario is a world famous makeup artist, so obviously some money has to go to him since his name is on it and he helped formulate it. I have zero problem with that. I respect his work ethic. I think he's worked his butt off to get where he is, and he more than deserves it. So I don't take an issue with that. I just want to make you guys aware. Next, I wanted to do a cost comparison per gram. This is the part that took me a little aback because it is an expensive palette when you break it down of cost per gram of what else is in keeping with it here. But again, I don't mind if it's a good quality product. In my mind, these two and then the Juvia's Place Nubian 2 palette are the best palette releases that I have tried this year. So now let me get into how I like to use this palette. My first reaction when I saw this palette was I was wishing that there were more mattes. Typically because I wear more mattes than shimmers, just because I don't really wear shimmers to work every day. I wear suits. I typically wear very neutral matte makeup. And so at first I was thinking, oh, I wish it had more mattes. But I can say in using this that Lula works as a perfect transition color. I love Isabel. I've been using that all the time as like a crease and working up into a transition as well if you go on lightly. And then this Violetta is a perfect crease color. So if you pair these two, at least these two, like if you want to go on lightly with Lula, but if you put Isabel up there in your crease and lightly diffuse it and then go in with Violetta in your crease, like how I have it on today, you can literally take any of these shadows, pack it all over your lid, and you get this like this effortless look that has high impact in my mind. They're like sultry, smoky looks. One thing I will tell you is when I first opened this palette and I swatched it, it was love at first swatch. I was like, these shadows are pigmented. They perform as well with a brush than they do with my finger. But when I first went on to put them on my eye, I was thinking like, okay, cool. I'm gonna do like some kind of like ombre fade with maybe like Muse and Marina. And I tried doing that, and as I was blending, these shadows are so soft. They were like muddying together and kind of blending away. And I was like, why is it doing that? So I went on with a glitter glue base, packed that all over, and then I tried to layer them on top again and kind of blend them into each other. But the area that I was blending in with each other was still kind of going a little muddy on me. For me anyway, and keep in mind guys, I'm not a makeup artist. I have this little itty bitty tiny eye space that I'm working with. So I don't have like huge blank canvas. So what I found works perfect for me are these colors, transition and crease, and then I can take any of these colors and pack it all over my lid, and it's super simple and quick, and I love the look I'm getting. Today I have the Isabel, Violetta, and then Bronx, and then underneath my eye I have the Isabel and Violetta. Yesterday I'll show you, I filmed a video about my cool sculpting at the 4-week update, so I will insert a little video of that here, and I had Muse on my eye. I think Muse is my favorite color in this whole palette. I just love those kind of like red, rusty, warm colors. I really like that. I think this palette perfectly echoed Mario's style, you know, when they're getting ready really quick, or like if they're doing editorial work, they're not sitting there, I don't think anyway, for hours and hours doing their makeup. They tend to change in wardrobe, come out, do a beautiful, impactful look, and then, you know, they're on to the next picture. I just think that perfectly reflects this. And if you look at pictures of like Kim Kardashian's makeup, you'll see like she's never wearing neon pink. You know, that's typically not standard editorial work. So if you're a person, and I like bright colors, I like purples, I like berries, I like oranges. If that is the kind of thing that you're expecting out of this, obviously you'll be disappointed if you can't tell just by looking at it. But I think that this is a very elegant palette. I think that this would even work on more mature eyelids with the shimmers. Sometimes I say to stay away from the shimmers. These shimmers are kind of unlike anything I've used before because they almost look wet and they're thin without being chunky. So like you get a good color payout, you'll see on my finger swatch, but you won't see, especially with the brush too, you won't see like a lot of fallout or huge chunks, which tells me that that's going to be promising for more mature skin. Also, when you look at these shadows, while they have reflection, they don't have like chunks of glitter in there. So I always prefer to use glitter glue with any shimmer I ever use because I do have hooded eyes and I like it to stay on my eyes and not transfer up into my crease. I just think this is a perfect fall palette. I will be linking my friend Ripley who lives in Sacramento. She was kind enough to swatch in the same method that I swatch for this palette on her deep skin tone. You guys should follow her on Instagram if you don't already. She swatches lots of makeup and she has a sick sense of humor like me, so that's why we're friends. You will see in these swatches that they swatch beautifully on light and dark skin. So now we're gonna get into the swatches, guys. I've laid down a base of Urban Decay's Primer Potion. I will be swatching the matte shades with my MAC 239 brush, and I will be swatching the shimmers with my MAC 242 brush. I will be cleaning my brush off in between swatches on my color switch so my brush will not be damp. I will do a finger swatch above, and then I will do the brush swatch right below it so you can see the difference. okay guys, I think those swatches speak for themselves. If those colors are in your wheelhouse, you will not be disappointed by this palette. I think the key to this palette for me, and to absolutely love it, is don't try to get super intricate. You know, like I've done a look with just the mattes as well, and then I took a little of the green and just kind of smoked it out on the edge and just packed the matte, the lightest matte, in on the inside, and that was beautiful. When I was trying to put like multiple shimmers on my actual eyelid themselves, they were just kind of blending together and looking odd. If you guys own these two palettes, there are a ton of looks you can do because the majority of this palette is matte and the majority of this palette are shimmers. These shadows are super pigmented. They are very creamy, very light. They're really nice shadows. To me, this is like the perfect palette to like even keep in your bag. It's like you're out at work on a Friday, you want to go out at night. Literally, you can take 3 of these colors and have, I only used 3 colors on my eye today. So I would repurchase this palette. I would recommend it. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys, and I will see you next time.